Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the mega size Zaku II. So yeah, as you can see, this thing is very, very huge, ridiculously huge. This is definitely the biggest Gunpla that I think I've ever built. And I mean, overall, the construction process is basically like an older high grade. It's very simple in terms of its construction, but it's got a lot of really nice detail on there, so I think it's pretty cool. Ignore that just only this foot has some panel lining on that. That was just for a demonstration purpose, so there's no other panel lining anywhere else on the kit, just only on that part. But you should still be able to see, and we'll take a look at it more closely anyway in a bit, but you should still be able to see all of the nice details on this. It's basically like a huge 1/48 scale version of the RG in terms of its details. Not as much in terms of the part separation, of course. We have very little part separation with this kit, and therefore the biggest problem of this kit is probably going to be the seam lines. And of course the articulation is not going to be anything fantastic either. It has articulation, but you're not really probably going to do a whole lot with it. A lot of that is just because of the size as well, but we'll talk more about that here in a bit. Anyway, you'll also notice probably, or you may notice, or if you notice, that some of the nub marks on this kit are not cleaned up really well. I just snapped this up really quickly because I'm going to be working on this a lot more, so I didn't really take the time to clean up all the nubs really carefully now. Everything will be sanded and all of that's much more over the course of just working on this kit, so that is why if you notice any nub marks sticking out. But anyway, yeah, it's a really fun kit to build. I mean, for its size, this took me like 2 hours maybe to snap together really quick. And like, you know, it may take you shorter or longer or whatever, but anyway, it was really quick. That's how long it takes me usually to build a simple high grade. Usually most high grades, just like any high grade kit, will take me about 3 hours in total, just snapping it up and everything, just removing all the nubs. Granted, again, like I said, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on the nubs on this kit, so that is one reason it went together a little bit faster, but just very fun, simple build, and you have a really intense looking kit when it's all said and done. And some pretty cool accessories as well. I'll show you that here in a moment. Those are very, very huge, and all the extra stuff that we get with that. So let's talk about some of that extra stuff here, why don't we? So for the unboxing, you may remember that it does come with a few foil stickers. The circle one obviously is supposed to go behind that pink clear part for the mono eye, and the two black squares are supposed to go on that section inside the head there. You can see there's a section of just green plastic in there. That's a big square section that this black just helps it help just fill in that dark space in there, so you don't have some green in there, so it just looks all black inside. Didn't bother with that now because I'm going to be painting this and all of that, so just didn't really bother with the stickers. So the clear piece inside the head, behind the clear mono eye piece, is a clear piece there too, so putting an LED in that would be pretty simple to do. I'm not going to do that with mine, so I may end up actually using this sticker. I don't know, we'll see. Just behind the mono eye, it actually would work pretty well. And then we have a really nice set of water slide decals as well. So these are just going to be like a few Xeon symbols there, Xeon rank symbols, and then just some like caution markings and letter and numbers there for some cool markings for your kit. Then included was this part separator, which like this part was for pulling the parts off the runners, and then this part is for pulling your pieces apart if you make a mistake or if you want to disassemble for painting or something. So kind of cool. You may just want to hang on to this. It will be a useful part separator to use. And actually, because this is on a runner that you get doubles of, you actually get 2 of these, so you can just keep these around for in case you need them. Now on the head there, I've just got the normal Zaku II head, but it does also come with a commander type head if you want to use that. For mine, I won't be using this, so I'll find something to do with this. Not really much kit bashing you can do with such a huge giant head, but I'm sure I can find something interesting to do with this guy. Then for our hand options, you can see we just got closed fists there on the kit, but then we do also get a set of holding hands. So these are going to be just looking like this. You can switch these out. The wrists on these are slightly bent, as you can see, so that'll give you a nice angle for holding the weapons. Then we do also have another one as well for the right hand, which with an even longer bent wrist. Now this one is like specifically for holding the bazooka, So just to give you a comparison here, you can see that one, if I can hold it correctly, that one is even more bent off to the side there, so that's going to be able to give you more clearance when you're holding the bazooka. Then we also have this piece here. Now on the back, on most Zaku kits, you'd have this panel here that like flips down to hold the bazooka on the back skirt. In this case, it doesn't flip down, you just have to take it off. So take that off and then just reattach that onto the bottom of this piece. Attach this into here like that, and then there you go, then you can plug your bazooka into the back skirt. So while we're talking weapons, here's a look at the Heat Hawk. This is really big. This is like the size of a 1/44 scale HG kit in terms of its height, basically. Very, very big. Just really simple. It's just two pieces that just sandwiched together. So you're going to have seam lines going down all around this. Not on the tubing though, luckily. The tubing is just one piece that doesn't have a seam line on it. But overall, the length of this, I just got my ruler here just so I can tell you more exactly. The length of this is going to be almost 16 centimeters. Then we've got our standard Zaku machine gun, of course, and it has a clear piece there for the camera, and that can move up and down. The front handle can move side to side, just like a regular Zaku machine gun, and just like a regular Zaku machine gun. Bandai insists on putting gates on the back of this. This is kind of a hard part. It's easy enough to sand with sandpaper, but if you're just using sanding sticks, you're going to have a hard time sanding those nubs and getting rid of that seam line there. But anyway, really nice here for this. This one is also going to be quite big. This is very, very long. It is going to be about 23 centimeters long for this guy. So just in case you're wondering, that is like the height of the Master Grade Unicorn. In Unicorn mode, I believe, is 23 centimeters. So very big. And then we have, of course, our bazooka, which is going to be the biggest weapon. It is very, very huge. So just compared to the Zaku itself, it's like the same size. And I think that was the clear camera piece that just fell out of there. But it's almost the same height as the Zaku itself. So this one is going to be, let's see, about 34 centimeters long. Very, very long here. This one as well. Oh, that wasn't. Some piece fell off. Anyway, I think it was the back skirt. The camera on this one also moves side to side. The front handle moves side to side, but I don't think you're going to get enough articulation here to be able to actually use the secondary handle, but it's there in case you want it anyway. And just going around back to the back skirt here, if you want to plug the bazooka on, you can just plug it onto the back skirt like that, and it holds nice and securely there. So while we've got this here up close, let's take a look at the articulation. Seam line here on the nose, that will be probably one of the hardest seam lines to get rid of on this kit just because of the shape of that, but hopefully it goes together pretty nicely. Head will go up and down about that much, not a whole lot, and it will go side to side a little bit, and of course turn and do all of that fun stuff. Seam lines on these pipes as well. The pipes are just sandwiched together, so that is going to be really annoying as well, sanding all the seams on all of these little pipes. It would almost be better to just use something else and not use those pipes. I'll have to think about that actually. But alright, so here in the stomach, we're not going to really have anything. It'll turn side to side a bit, not a whole lot. But no crunch or any moving side to side, nothing at all there. In the shoulders, you're going to be able to move this shoulder part up to about there, about 90 degrees with the kit, like that. A rotation here, and then this doesn't move forward too much, but it moves forward a little bit to about there. You can see it has a similar kind of joint like an HG kit would. So you get a little bit of forward motion, but not a whole lot. Anyway, the elbow is going to give you just about 90 degrees. That's about it. Nothing too fancy there. And then the wrist is just on a ball joint. And a ball joint that doesn't really sit deep enough. Oh, there we go. I think I just didn't have it in all the way. There we go. So yeah, wrist is just on a ball joint there. Seam line on the shoulder armor there, of course, and on the forearm, that one on the back, very easy to get rid of that. But on the front, we do have some panel lines there you'll have to just be a little bit careful of when you're sanding that. This side, the shield doesn't really move a whole lot up and down. You can see there's that mechanical piece there, but that's just molded in. That's not actually a mechanical part. So that is not really going to be able to move too much at all. It will rotate a little bit, I think like this. You can sort of get it out of the way if you need, but not really going to have a whole lot of articulation there. Going down to the front skirts, these are going to move individually. You can move those like that. Side skirts will move out a little bit maybe, but not really too much it looks like. Back skirt, nothing. The legs will move out to about here before you're starting to probably pry off that side skirt armor. You do have some rotation there at the top, so those will rotate all the way around. And the rotation is like, it's a little bit ratcheted in the way the polycap is. So you can see it kind of like ratchets around there. The knee is going to give you, again, about a 90-degree bend, not really a whole lot, so you can get that up to about there. The piping on the side and the head is fixed, but we do have a little bit of articulation in the piping here. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, so you're able to get a little bit of a bend there. It's got some small polycaps in there, so you're able to bend that piping there on the knee if you want. Nice detailing around there, even on like the joint. Again, very similar to the looking of the joint of the RG kit. Then here on the back, of seam lines on here as well, but I think those are supposed to be panel lines. On the front, nasty seam line here on the front of the leg. On the back, it's hidden by these panels here, but then at the top and bottom, you'll have to get rid of that seam line there. Ugh, this thing is heavy to hold up. Yeah, we got a little bit of movement here at the ankles, forward and back. Some nice detail there underneath the feet, and that's about it. So as you can see, the articulation is not that fancy, but it's basic. So you can see loaded up with all of his weapons. Like I said, not going to be the most articulated, but it's still going to be a very impressive looking Zaku just because of its sheer size, and it does have a really nice look to it, and just in terms of its like proportions and its design. Again, very similar to the design of the RG, and I think sometimes, depending on which kit of the Zaku we're talking about, sometimes the face looks a little bit more mean than others, and I think the Zaku definitely looks a lot cooler when it has a little bit more mean looking face. And this one does have that. It does help to tilt the head down a little bit. Of course, gives it that look a little bit more, but yeah, really nice. One thing I forgot to mention about the bazooka. The bazooka will have a seam line going all the way down the middle section of that. The actual barrel piece doesn't have a seam, that's one piece, and the back part of the bazooka also is just one piece, so no seam on that. So that is nice. And the same thing for the Zaku rifle. The very end piece doesn't have a seam, but the whole main body part will have a seam, including that section there on the bottom of the rifle as well. Now, just to give you guys a sense of the scale of this kit, here it is compared to a 1/100 scale Xeon kit and a 1/44 scale Xeon kit. I unfortunately don't have a 1/60 scale Zaku, a perfect grade Zaku to share with you guys in this here, but as you can see, it's very, very big. Pretty much any 1/100 scale kit is not even going to make it up to the waist, barely, of the Zaku, the mega size here, so very, very, very large. So one thing I think a lot of people might be wondering about these kits is, are they worth the price? Because obviously these kits are a little bit expensive. I think, if I remember correctly, the retail is like 7,000 yen on them. So you're probably going to be paying, if you're not living in Japan, you're probably going to be paying, you know, between $70 and $100 for the kit. And then maybe you got shipping or whatever on top of that. So it's a lot of money for what some people might think is not a very complicated kit. It's not a lot of bang for your buck. It's just a lot of plastic. So yeah, if that's justified, I mean, it's totally up to you. I don't know if I can really help you with that. It's just going to be your opinion, man. But like, I think this makes a really cool kit if you want to do a lot of work on it. Because there's so much potential here. Obviously there's going to be just a lot of prep work that you have to do, just a lot of seam lines and stuff to remove. But the nice thing about this kit is the way that it's constructed. Separating the parts will be pretty easy. So like with an HG kit, for example, you have that rounded shoulder piece. With a lot of HG Zaku kits, you can't remove that seam line without like permanently fixing it to the arm, so you have to do a little bit of modifying or something to it so that you're able to take it off for painting something. But in this case, you don't have to do that for pretty much any parts. I don't think I'll have to modify any of the parts to be able to fit after painting. So that is the one nice thing about it, that there will be a lot of seam line work to do, but not a lot of modification necessary. Now, of course, I probably will be doing some modification to it, but that is not necessary for if you just want to paint the kit. And yeah, there's just a lot of detail here, but there is still a lot of wide open space to add even more detail if you want. So I think this kit is definitely worth it, depending on what you want to do with the kit. If you want to have a nice, big, huge project, or at least, I mean big in size, that you want to spend some time on and really go to town on it and really make it look awesome, you can do that. Just out of the box, though, I mean, it is going to be looking pretty great. I mean, just going in with some panel lining, marker or pen aligning ink or paint, or however you want to do your pen aligning, going over that and then just top coating it would not look bad either. You'll still have a lot of seams, of course, but just showing off all that detail and just its sheer size will definitely be impressive. Alright, so that's pretty much going to do it for my review of the mega size Zaku II. Now again, to compare this with the Char's version of this kit, you have different water slides. The Char's version does not come with a bazooka, and then obviously the colors are different. I believe that's pretty much going to be the only differences. So if I had to recommend one or the other, I would say to recommend getting this one. The only thing you don't get with this one is the Char's custom decals, which you could always order some from a third-party seller like Samuel Decal. I know he sells the decals in 1/48 scale, so you can get those. And then just the colors, but if you're going to paint it, then it doesn't matter. So I would definitely recommend getting this one over the Char's version. But that as well may come down to availability where you're at. These may not be the easiest things to find or the easiest things to find at a good price. So, you know, maybe if you can't find this one and you can only find the Char's version, I think it's not really a great loss. So just about the bazooka here, as I said, it does come with a hand specifically for the bazooka, but even with that new hand, you still can't clear the bazooka up over the shoulder. So unfortunately, this is like the only thing you can do with the bazooka, is just having it, just holding it like this. I haven't tried under the arm. It might actually work putting it under the arm. I don't know, I'd have to try that. But still, I think, again, with this kit, dynamic poses is not going to be what you're getting this kit for. You're getting it just to be able to stand there and look huge and badass and really awesomely detailed and awesomely Zaku. Another thing I didn't mention as well is that you are not able to connect the heat hawk to the side skirts by any means. One easy way to fix that would be just to use, just modify that, just drill a hole in the side skirt, put a peg onto the heat hawk. Alternatively, you could also use a magnet as well. That would work easily as well. I think, like with this kit being so huge, it would be very easy to do modifications like that. Just drilling and putting in a little magnet. Be very simple to do, and you can easily hide that on such a huge kit like this. So with that, I will say that now about my plans for this kit, I'll talk about that in a future video, in a work in progress video or in some other video coming up, because I definitely have some specific plans for this. And I think if you watch all of my content, including probably in some live video, I probably talked about this, but I do have a very specific plan for this, and you may already know what that is if you watch carefully a lot of the live videos. Yeah, I've probably mentioned it, but if you don't, then just stay tuned. I'll be talking about my plans for this very soon. And just want to thank you guys for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, you can leave those down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.